Today on Yates American J180 restoration, we're going to install the cutter head, including pressing on the refurbished cutter head bearings. Well, assembling the cutter head onto the machine will first involve getting these rings and sleeves and the bearings installed and then attached to this motor base. I have a couple of items I'm going to try to use to push the bearings on. These rings have a specific orientation on these sleeves, and I'm going to go offline and look at some photos to remember how those were done, and those have to be put on before bearings get pressed onto that spot there. I'm going to spray some graphite dry lube on these sleeves so the rings will slide on in a little better without any grease. Okay, so looking at this photo from when I was disassembling the cutter head, for this end of the cutter head, which is the drivetrain side, the skinny part of the ring is going to go on my left. No, it's going to go on my right, not on my left. And then this is the inner ring. And then the skinny side of the outer ring is going to go on my left. And then the bearing will get pushed onto here. And then for the motor end of the shaft, the rings will be opposite. So the skinny side is going to go on my left on the inner ring, and the skinny side on the outer ring will go on my right. For pressing on the bearings, I'm going to lash this cutter head to my table here, and then with it lashed to my workbench, and see if I can tap on this bearing. This is not very scientific. So next is the motor mount. The motor mount is a slip fit on this recess over the bearing, and I'm putting just the slightest little bit of blue Loctite on this recess just to hold it in place. That was more of a slip fit than I expected. So the drivetrain side bearing housing is held in place with some taper pins. I think when I was knocking these out, disassembling it, one of them went flying across the garage floor. Okay, I've got the cutter head staged here. I've got some blocks holding it at the right level for the bearing to go into the receiver here. I'm going to temporarily bolt these cross braces in place so that these frames are the right distance apart, so this bearing will be seated at the right location. So this bearing its fit into this receiver is a very loose slip fit. So I put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. So now I'm going to get it installed. On the motor end, there are a couple of taper pins that locate the motor base onto the frame. These washers and nuts on these taper pins are simply just to allow the pins to be removed in the future. So I'm just going to barely tighten those up.